Okay, so here we are in beautiful Guatemala, and we're just hanging outside the Rio Dulce River, and we're going to go up there in a couple of hours. It's just a place called Livingston, if you've ever seen that on the map. It's a really cool hurricane hole. It's an amazing place. It's got a really shallow sandbar right at the entrance, and we're in a fairly big boat. We've got a fairly deep keel on the boat, so we've got to time this perfectly. And what we've done, December 31st, is the king tide. It's where the sun and the moon are doing their opposite thingies and bulging the earth and spewing out the tide and making the depths as much as they possibly can. Anyway, listen to Neil deGrasse on that one. So what we would need to do is know that we need to know the depth exactly, right? And so we've got a depth meter on the boat, but do we know that that's exactly reading right? So here's what we've done. We've made ourselves a depth meter. This is a really cool depth meter. And what we did, drop that over the bottom, and then we just tie a little knot in the line right at the waterline, and we bring it back on the boat, we measure it out, and now we know exactly what the depth is. Now, here's the trick. We also have a keel, so we have to take that into account. So I like to make things really simple, not do high math. So here's what I do. Just draw a diagram. It's going to make it really simple. Don't try and add and subtract and all that kind of stuff. Just draw a diagram. Here's the boat. Here's the keel. We know the keel depth, 6.5. We know the depth we measured, 10 feet. So if it gets to 3.5, that's when we know that the keel is probably going to hit the bottom. But here's the trick to the whole thing. There's a little setting on your depth meter. It's called the offset. And so what you do is you offset it exactly at the depth of your keel. But the trick is that your transducer is not at the here. It's a little bit down underneath the water. So you have to now set the offset number, a negative number, by the way, so that if we're doing this math, that this depth here shows 3.5. So 6.5 is the depth, 6.5 is the keel, 10 is the depth. When this reads 3.5 on the meter, after you've entered the offset number, you've entered it correctly. Now, this is typically what you'd want to do is set it up for a little bit more, the safety factor, like a couple of feet or something like that, maybe even more. Because we're going over the sandbar in a few hours, we have to have it exactly right down to the inch. So it's possibly going to get down to 2 or 3 inches getting over the sandbar, but that's okay because we'll know exactly what the depth is and we'll be really confident that we've done it right with really simple diagram, piece of string, a spanner, and some simple math. Okay, cheers.